Once upon a time, a young woman was taught by the church that God made her to be a helper to men, that God's best calling for her life is to be a wife and mother, nurturing with domestic labor, that by existing in a woman's body, she is responsible for being a sin trap for men, that God wants her to be silent at church and agreeable at home. Her environment is punitive, so she survives by willing compliance. Her church calls this being a godly, biblical woman. Meanwhile, there's a boy somewhere being taught that to be a biblical man means God's design is having authority over women and children, providing, leading, speaking, having the final say. Purity culture taught him that he objectifies women and lacks self-control by nature. They both are taught that any ideas outside of the church are unbiblical and deceptive. These two meet, she marries the one who courts her, and they have children. He chooses abusive behavior. The woman tries harder at all the options given to her. Pray, be more compliant, remain vulnerable, speak rarely after making sure he is satisfied, and suffer well so God will reward her obedience in heaven. Her health is compromised and her children are abused, which gives her enough courage to ask for help from her church, that only source of godly advice. She is told that by speaking up or saying no, that is unsubmissive, disrespectful, slanderous, and bitter, and she needs to be taught more compliance because obviously she hadn't done it well enough where it would have worked. The church checks in with him and finds that his version agrees she hasn't done her part well enough. They see his behavior as harsh, but how could he be blamed for taking authority forcefully when his wife is so difficult? There are no other tools because according to the church, these gender tools work if used properly. None of this reflects Jesus, but if it sounds familiar, it's very common across denominations. Church, if we know better, we can do better.